The first time I saw the wig sitting on Isabella's vanity, it was almost like it was daring me. A cascade of soft auburn curls, shimmering under the sunlight that poured through our bedroom window. I had no idea that this simple accessory would change everything: my confidence, my identity, and the way the world would see me. I'm Ryan, a 24-year-old graphic designer, living in a small yet cozy apartment in the heart of the city. My days were usually consumed with colors, shapes, and layouts, a world of pixels and palettes where I could lose myself for hours. By night, I had another world entirely, one where I could explore a side of myself that most people didn't know existed. Crossdressing had always been a quiet fascination of mine. Not a full-blown obsession, but a curiosity that sometimes led to secret experiments, borrowing Isabella's eyeliner, slipping into one of her dresses when she was out, or trying on heels just to see how it felt. It wasn't about pretending to be someone else. It was about discovering new ways to express myself, ways that felt liberating, intimate, and strangely thrilling. Our apartment reflected both our personalities. Isabella's touches, minimalist, chic, carefully curated, and mine, a little chaotic, full of sketches, tech gadgets, and posters of art exhibitions I loved. That Saturday afternoon was quiet. Sunlight dappled through the living room blinds, casting warm stripes across the hardwood floor. Isabella was out running errands, leaving me alone with her collection of beauty products, outfits, and, of course, the wig. The air felt charged, a mix of excitement and nervousness. I walked over to the vanity, my fingers brushing over the smooth strands of the wig. The auburn color glinted in the sun, almost hypnotic. For a moment, I just held it, imagining what it would feel like on my own head, imagining the surprise, the thrill, and the slight fear that came with stepping into a world so foreign yet so intimately mine. Isabella and I had been dating for nearly 2 years. She was brilliant, confident, and effortlessly stylish, someone who seemed to command attention without even trying. Our relationship was solid, filled with laughter, mutual respect, and occasional teasing about my quirks. But one thing she didn't know, and I wasn't sure she ever would, was just how deep my fascination with crossdressing ran. It wasn't about hiding shame. It was about exploring a side of me that felt playful, delicate, and alive. Sometimes, when Isabella left for errands or work, I would experiment quietly. Slip into her shoes, try on a scarf, dab on some eyeliner. The rush wasn't from deception, but from the joy of discovering a hidden layer of myself. And that day, everything changed with one glance at that wig. My curiosity got the better of me. I carefully lifted the wig, feeling the soft texture slide through my fingers. Heart pounding, I placed it gently on my head. The weight was strange but familiar. The curls framed my face in a way that was simultaneously foreign and exciting. I caught my reflection in the mirror, and for a moment, I didn't see Ryan. I saw Riley. There was a thrill in that reflection, a spark I hadn't anticipated. My hands reached instinctively for Isabella's makeup, a light brush of blush, a touch of mascara. My pulse quickened as I saw the transformation take shape. I was still me, yet undeniably someone else, playful, confident, and radiant. I stepped back and examined every angle. My own face softened under the wig, my jawline looked sharper, my features somehow more expressive. The reflection staring back at me was captivating. And then, almost unconsciously, I smiled. I had never felt this bold, this visible, this alive. But as quickly as excitement surged, anxiety followed. What if Isabella came home early? What if someone saw me like this? My mind raced with possibilities: embarrassment, judgment, curiosity, or even ridicule. The duality of feeling both empowered and exposed was intense. I realized that this small experiment was no longer trivial. It wasn't just a wig on my head. It was a step into a persona that demanded courage, vulnerability, and self-acceptance. I could almost hear a whisper inside me. Do you dare show the world this side of you? And the answer, surprisingly, was yes. I left the apartment cautiously, wearing Riley's persona for the first time outside the safe confines of my bedroom. Every step in the slightly unstable heels was a reminder that I was venturing into uncharted territory. People passed by, glancing, and I felt an exhilarating mix of fear and pride. At the coffee shop, someone complimented my hair, just my hair. A stranger. And then another. I felt my chest swell with a strange pride. This persona, Riley, was being noticed, admired, and it thrilled me to the core. My secret experiment had become something public, something undeniable. It wasn't about deception anymore. It was about self-expression, and for the first time, I felt like I had stepped into a part of myself that no one, not even Isabella, had fully seen. Little did I know that this first experiment was just the beginning. The wig that felt like a simple indulgence would lead to public attention, teasing, and unexpected encounters. The thrill of admiration would quickly collide with fear, judgment, and the challenge of keeping my dual identity intact. One misstep could unravel everything: my reputation, my relationship with Isabella, and the delicate balance of living as both Ryan and Riley. Yet, the temptation was irresistible, and the wig, with its soft auburn curls, promised adventures I hadn't dared imagine. As I walked back home that evening, wig perfectly in place, I caught a final glimpse of my reflection in a shop window. The familiar Ryan stared back at me from the edges, but Riley's presence dominated the mirror. I felt a shiver of both excitement and apprehension. This was no longer a casual experiment. It was the start of a journey, one filled with admiration, suspense, emotional drama, and the delicate, thrilling exploration of identity. And in that moment, I realized there was no turning back. The auburn curls shimmered in the fading light, and a whisper of possibility danced in my mind. How far would I go? How much would I dare to show the world? And most importantly, could I keep this side of me hidden from Isabella, or would the secret spill over in ways I never imagined? The moment I stepped into Riley's persona, a flood of emotions crashed over me: exhilaration, fear, curiosity, and a strange, intoxicating confidence. Every reflection I caught in windows, mirrors, and even the shiny surfaces of my apartment seemed to whisper, "This is who you could be." But the thrill came with a constant undercurrent of dread. What if someone found out? Back in the apartment, I removed the wig only briefly, running my fingers through the auburn curls and feeling the soft weight. My reflection showed me both Ryan and Riley simultaneously, the familiar self with the nervous eyes and tentative smile, and the new persona, bold and radiant. I had always known that crossdressing stirred a mix of emotions in me. It was not about wanting to be someone else entirely. It was about exploring facets of my identity that felt hidden, delicate, and deeply personal. Yet, the public attention I had already received, casual compliments on my hair from strangers at the coffee shop and bookstore, made me question boundaries. Was I ready for this persona to exist outside the safety of my apartment, away from Isabella's watchful eyes? The next day, I experimented further. I carefully selected a simple outfit that complemented the wig: a flowy blouse, fitted jeans, and low-heeled boots. I applied a subtle touch of makeup, a dash of blush, eyeliner that accentuated my eyes, and light lip gloss that added a sheen I had never dared try. Each layer of transformation was thrilling. Each brushstroke and clothing choice elevated Riley from a reflection in the mirror to a tangible, living presence. Standing in front of the mirror, I practiced my walk, adjusting my posture to exude confidence while still feeling natural. Every sway of the hips, every tilt of the head, every subtle smile was a rehearsal in self-expression. But as I admired my reflection, I couldn't shake the gnawing fear. What would Isabella say if she walked in right now? Would she laugh? Be concerned? Or worse, be upset that I had explored this side of myself without telling her? Riley's debut in public was small at first: a trip to the corner store, a coffee run. Yet each outing tested my nerves. Strangers' glances lingered a little longer than expected, compliments were exchanged in hushed tones, and sometimes people stared openly, curiosity mixing with admiration. One barista, a young woman with a cheerful smile, asked if I was modeling for someone. My heart raced as I shook my head, stammering a vague, just trying something new. Her enthusiasm made me blush, and the thrill of being seen, of being Riley, was intoxicating. With each step outside, I realized that Riley was no longer confined to my apartment. The persona had a presence that demanded recognition, and I was beginning to understand the power of that visibility. Yet the risk of exposure from friends, colleagues, and especially Isabella hung over me like a shadow. Back home, I spent hours reflecting on what had happened. The rush of attention had been exhilarating, yet every compliment and approving glance left me vulnerable. This persona, Riley, was something I cherished, but I feared judgment, misunderstanding, or rejection. I sat on the edge of the bed, wig in hand, torn between excitement and apprehension. My mind replayed the reactions of strangers, the subtle nods of approval, and the smiles of curiosity. Part of me wanted to immerse myself fully into Riley, to explore this freedom without restraint. Another part clung to the safety of my familiar identity as Ryan, wary of what might happen if Isabella or anyone else discovered this side of me. The first real challenge arrived sooner than expected. Isabella announced a casual gathering at our apartment that evening, a few friends dropping by for drinks and conversation. Panic bubbled inside me. How could I appear as Riley without revealing the secret? Could I balance the persona with the reality of my life as Ryan? I considered canceling, but a spark of daring overtook me. What if I took this opportunity to step further into Riley? Could I maintain the illusion convincingly enough for a small social setting? The thought terrified and thrilled me simultaneously. Hours before the gathering, I began Riley's transformation in earnest. The wig felt heavier, more real, as I secured it carefully. I applied makeup meticulously, each brushstroke a careful dance between enhancement and realism. I chose an outfit that blended elegance with casual charm, a fitted top, soft skirt, and stylish flats. Accessories were essential, a pendant necklace, subtle earrings, and a delicate bracelet that added authenticity to the persona. As I examined my reflection, the metamorphosis was complete. Riley stood before me, confident, radiant, and undeniably present. Yet as excitement surged, so did anxiety. Every noise in the apartment, the ticking clock, the hum of the refrigerator, seemed magnified, a warning that someone could appear at any moment. The first guest arrived. Isabella opened the door, her eyes lighting up with surprise as she saw me fully transformed. "Oh, wow," she said, clearly impressed. A mix of amusement and curiosity played across her features. My heart raced, but Riley remained composed, smiling, greeting the guest with a natural charm that felt both foreign and exhilarating. Throughout the evening, the balance between Ryan and Riley became increasingly precarious. Conversations flowed, laughter echoed, and compliments poured in. I felt exhilaration coursing through me, yet each glance toward Isabella's eyes was a reminder of the delicate line I was walking. Could she see the duality? Would she suspect? As the night progressed, I found a quiet moment by the balcony, gazing at the city lights. The wind tousled Riley's wig, and I felt a rush of freedom mingled with fear. This persona was not just a disguise, it was an expression of a part of me I had never shared. The public approval, the thrill of transformation, the exhilaration of being noticed, it was intoxicating. Yet, the question lingered. How far could I take this without unraveling the balance of my life? The dual existence of Ryan and Riley was thrilling, but it demanded careful navigation. One misstep could expose me entirely, disrupt my relationship with Isabella, and shatter the delicate equilibrium I had worked so hard to maintain. As the evening wound down, I realized that Riley's presence had been a success, admired, accepted, and even celebrated. Yet, beneath the surface, tension simmered. Each compliment and approving glance carried the weight of potential exposure. The next challenge, public scrutiny, unexpected encounters, or Isabella's inevitable questions, loomed closer, ready to test my resolve. I took a deep breath, adjusting the wig and smoothing the skirt. Riley was no longer just an experiment. She was alive, vibrant, and visible. And the world, or at least those in our small circle, was beginning to notice. As I prepared for the next day, my mind swirled with possibilities and fears. What if coworkers or friends encountered Riley? How would Isabella react if the dual identity was revealed? The thrill of transformation was now inseparable from the tension of potential exposure. Riley was ready to step into the world, but the stakes were higher than ever. Every glance, every comment, every subtle observation could tip the balance. The journey had only just begun, and the thrill of crossdressing had evolved into a suspenseful challenge, maintaining the persona, managing reactions, and navigating the fine line between self-expression and secrecy. The tension mounted one Friday afternoon when Isabella asked me to attend a casual work function with her. "It's just a small meetup with a few colleagues," she said casually, brushing hair behind her ear. But her mention of colleagues was enough to send my heart racing. Could I go as Riley? Could I maintain this dual identity without exposing myself entirely? The thought of appearing as Riley in a professional or semi-public setting thrilled me, yet every step was a test of nerves. I was acutely aware of every sound in the apartment, every knock on the door, and every imagined glance from passers-by. My mind raced with worst-case scenarios: someone recognizing me from before, Isabella questioning my choices, or an unintentional slip revealing the secret I had guarded so carefully. Hours before leaving, I meticulously transformed into Riley. The auburn wig framed my face perfectly. The curls shimmered under the apartment lights. I applied foundation with precision, accentuating cheekbones and softening jawlines. A soft plum lipstick gave my lips definition, while subtle eyeliner emphasized my eyes, adding a spark of vivacity. The outfit had a balanced elegance with casual charm, a fitted top that hugged my shoulders, a skirt that flowed gracefully, and comfortable yet stylish flats. Accessories were minimal yet essential: a pendant necklace, delicate earrings, and a bracelet that drew subtle attention to my hands. The final touch was the walk, practicing posture, stride, and the gentle sway of hips. I studied every angle in the mirror, ensuring that Riley was convincing, natural, and unmistakably poised. The moment we arrived, a low murmur of surprise rippled through the room. Colleagues glanced, whispered, and smiled as I approached, Riley in full presence. Isabella greeted me with a teasing glance, her curiosity masked by her composed smile. "Riley, right?" one colleague said, extending a hand. I shook it, maintaining composure despite the racing of my heart. Compliments flowed effortlessly, questions asked in genuine curiosity, and laughter shared freely. Yet beneath it all, tension coiled in my stomach like a spring ready to snap. One wrong comment, one slip of posture or gesture, could reveal the truth. The first real obstacle came in the form of an unexpected visitor, Julia, a friend of Isabella's from college, whose sharp eyes and keen intuition were notorious. She stopped in her tracks, studied me for a long moment, and tilted her head with a smirk. "You've changed your hair?" she asked casually, though the undercurrent of curiosity was clear. My pulse quickened. Was she about to expose me? I forced a small laugh, brushing a strand of the wig behind my ear. "Yes, just trying something new," I said, voice steady, though my palms felt clammy. Julia raised an eyebrow, leaning slightly closer. "It's amazing. You look so different. I almost didn't recognize you." The relief was immediate, but it was a reminder of how precarious everything was. Every interaction now carried the weight of potential exposure. As the evening progressed, I felt a heady mix of thrill and fear. Compliments poured in, on my hair, outfit, and poise. People were charmed, entertained, even impressed. Yet, every smile, every glance, every friendly comment reminded me of the tightrope I was walking. I found myself laughing freely, enjoying Riley's persona more than I had anticipated. Yet, beneath the joy lurked a constant anxiety. Isabella's eyes occasionally flicked toward me, searching, playful, maybe suspicious. And somewhere in the back of my mind, I knew the truth would have to surface eventually. The secret I had nurtured in private was now dancing on the edge of revelation. At one point, a playful breeze caught the hem of my skirt as I moved to serve drinks, lifting it slightly and sending a shiver down my spine. In that instant, I felt both exposed and alive. The duality of my existence, Ryan hidden, Riley visible, was encapsulated in that moment. The wig shifted slightly with emotion, and I quickly adjusted it, smoothing curls with trembling fingers. Every subtle movement felt amplified. Every small misstep threatened to betray the carefully constructed illusion. The mirror-like surfaces around the room reflected my transformation, a constant reminder of the persona I had embraced and the precariousness of maintaining it. As the night continued, the tension escalated. Julia excused herself briefly, leaving me alone with Isabella, whose gaze was intense and unreadable. I felt my heartbeat in my throat, caught between excitement and dread. "You're really pulling this off," Isabella said softly, voice tinged with curiosity and amusement. "I never knew you had this side of you." I forced a small laugh, attempting to mask my inner turmoil. "It's just for fun," I said, though every word trembled with unspoken truth. The line between play and revelation blurred, each interaction a delicate dance. The final test arrived unexpectedly. An unplanned guest, my coworker, Alex, who had attended previous events where only Ryan appeared. The moment his eyes landed on me, he froze. Recognition flickered, curiosity and surprise mingling in his expression. "Oh, hey, Ryan," he said, hesitating as he scanned my appearance. My heart leapt into my throat. Could he connect Riley to Ryan? Would he expose me, even unintentionally? I smiled nervously, offering a casual wave. "Hi, Alex. Just trying a new look today." His eyes lingered, curiosity piqued, but he said nothing further. Relief washed over me, but the tension remained taut, a reminder that every interaction could unravel everything. By the end of the night, my body and mind were exhausted. Each step, each glance, each smile had demanded vigilance, composure, and control. The thrill of public acceptance battled with the fear of exposure, leaving me both elated and drained. Riley had survived the social gauntlet, admired and celebrated, yet the line between persona and reality had never been thinner. Every compliment, every nod, every whispered remark carried the weight of potential discovery. The exhilaration of transformation was inseparable from the anxiety of secrecy. As guests departed, Isabella lingered, eyes studying me with a mix of amusement, admiration, and subtle suspicion. "You've really embraced this, haven't you?" she asked softly. I nodded, heart racing. "Yeah, it feels right," I admitted. The truth of my dual identity lingered on the edge of revelation, hanging in the balance. One question, one slip, one accidental exposure could change everything. The night ended with smiles, laughter, and polite goodbyes, yet the suspense lingered. Riley had survived public scrutiny, but the ultimate challenge, maintaining this delicate balance without being discovered, remained looming. The apartment had quieted after the last guest left, leaving only Isabella and me standing in the softly lit living room. The hum of the refrigerator and the distant city noises outside were the only sounds breaking the tense silence. My fingers absently traced the auburn curls of the wig, still adjusted perfectly in place, and I could feel Riley lingering in my posture, my expression, my every movement. Isabella's gaze was fixed on me. There was curiosity there, amusement, and something else, a quiet intensity that made my chest tighten. "You've really taken this further than I expected," she said, her voice low and measured. "I mean, I knew you liked experimenting, but this?" I swallowed hard, searching for the right words. "It's just fun," I murmured, though the lie felt fragile, ready to shatter under her scrutiny. She took a slow step closer, her eyes flicking to the wig, then down to my carefully chosen outfit. "Fun or something more?" she asked, tilting her head with a subtle smile. The question hit me like a lightning bolt. I had hoped to maintain a playful distance, to keep Riley safely behind a veneer of casual experimentation, but Isabella's tone carried weight, the kind that could unravel everything in a single moment. I opened my mouth, then closed it again, words failing me. The adrenaline surged through me, my pulse pounding in my ears. Every instinct screamed to retreat, to remove the wig, to slip back into the safety of Ryan. But Riley's confidence pulsed in my veins, daring me to stand my ground. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed loudly on the coffee table. I glanced down, heart skipping a beat. A notification from social media. A friend from the gathering had posted a picture. Me, in full Riley attire, smiling brightly. The post was already gathering likes, comments praising the transformation. I froze. My eyes widened, the reality crashing in. The secret wasn't mine anymore. One simple click, one casual share, and Riley's existence had spilled into the wider world. Isabella followed my gaze to the phone and raised an eyebrow. "What's that?" she asked, a hint of amusement in her voice, but her eyes flicked toward mine with suspicion. I tried to laugh it off. "Oh, just someone sharing a photo from earlier, no big deal." My voice trembled slightly, betraying the calm I tried to project. She didn't answer. Instead, she moved closer, her hand brushing against mine as if testing my reaction. The touch was casual, but my mind raced. Every instinct screamed that the moment of exposure had arrived, that one misstep could reveal Riley entirely, the persona I had nurtured, the secret I had guarded, and the part of myself I had finally allowed to breathe. Suddenly, there was a sharp knock at the door. My heart leapt into my throat. Who could that be now? Isabella said, her voice light, but her eyes narrowed with curiosity. I hesitated, the weight of possibility pressing down on me. Another visitor? A neighbor? Or someone who might recognize me from the event? I had no time to think. Riley's composure demanded that I act, that I remain poised, that I navigate this new threat with grace. I approached the door slowly, my movements careful, controlled, each step a delicate dance between Ryan's caution and Riley's confidence. Peering through the peephole, my breath caught. It was Julia, the same friend who had noticed my transformation earlier, now standing outside with a mischievous smile and a glint of something unreadable in her eyes. I froze, caught between panic and exhilaration. Julia's presence meant one thing. The secret was no longer mine alone to manage. And the look on her face suggested she already knew more than she let on. I stepped back, glancing at Isabella, whose expression had shifted to one of quiet intrigue. The air in the room crackled with tension, a mixture of fear, excitement, and the unknown. Julia knocked again, louder this time, and I realized that the next moments would determine everything. Would she reveal the secret to Isabella? Would she tease, confront, or perhaps even accept this new side of me? My mind raced with possibilities, none of them comforting, all of them thrilling. Riley's persona surged forward instinctively, urging me to face the moment, to embrace the unknown. Yet the voice of caution, Ryan, the part of me that still feared exposure and judgment, whispered to retreat, to hide, to protect the fragile balance of my life. I took a deep breath, smoothing the wig and adjusting the skirt, the familiar tension between excitement and fear coursing through me. My hand hovered over the doorknob, every nerve alive, every thought spinning. And then Isabella spoke, softly, almost teasingly. "Go on, open it." The words hung in the air like a challenge. My pulse raced, my fingers trembled, and for a split second, I felt the full weight of the secret I had nurtured, the dual identity that had captivated and terrified me in equal measure. I turned the knob slowly, bracing myself for whatever lay beyond the door, and for the first time, I wondered if the world was ready for Riley, or if Riley's world would shatter the carefully constructed reality of Ryan forever. The door creaked open, the tension reaching its peak. Julia's smile widened, a knowing glint in her eyes. And then everything paused. The screen fades to black. What happens next? Will Isabella discover the full truth about Riley? Will Julia reveal Ryan's secret to the world, or will she become an unexpected ally? Comment your predictions below and let us know how you would react in this thrilling, suspenseful scenario.